It's a difficult topic this week, folks. We all hate to talk about and even think about the end, but it's important that when it comes, that we have a plan. And we're going to talk about it this week and how you could start putting that plan in motion for you and for those that you care about. All right, everybody. It's happy Monday. Happy Veterans Day. I know I normally don't do these on days where the courts are closed and when there's not mail delivery, but this one's a little special because it ties into an event that we're having here and offering at my office in conjunction with my colleague Margot. Welcome back to the podcast, Margot, and good morning.
Hi,
Uh,
Jobeth.
Estate planning. It's kind of that scary boogeyman concept that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Um, because it means that the end is inevitable. But the end is inevitable. We have not figured out how to get away from death or taxes. And estate planning, to overly simplify it from my very limited understanding, because I do what I do, the accidents and the injuries, and leave other things that I don't do to experts that do them on a routine basis, like yourself. But a way to kind of put things in place for those who stay around a little longer than we do and take some of the complexity out of what needs to happen next out of it. So let's talk a little bit. I know the last time you were on here, we talked about common scams that attack the aging generation and ways that people, from a scam perspective. But let's just talk about the straight up, why should people do this? And what I really want to talk about, because most people assume that you need to have substantial wealth and own a bunch of property and all of this other stuff for it to even make sense to put in place the things that you do professionally. But I know that's not the case, and I want to really make sure that we're talking to those people who think that they don't need to do this, and talk about the reasons why it's just as important there as for anybody else.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely the case. I have definitely heard that over the course of my career, but we don't have much, so it'll be fine. Well, pretty much if you have anything, you'll be going through a very archaic system of probate, absent, putting other things in place to avoid that. So, but the basic estate plan generally has three documents. And the two that I don't know, I like the most because they don't get talked about all that much and people just kind of push them to the side as like less important documents are ones that we actually need while you're still here. And that is in the event of incapacity and protecting finances and medical decisions if you're not capable of doing it yourself. What I've seen over the course of my career is folks sort of avoiding putting those documents in place and then becoming in a situation where they need them. And some of the litigation that comes out of that, Jobeth, I'm telling you, it's costly and it's sad mostly. So there's two documents while you're still here with us, and that is your healthcare power of attorney. It's actually called an advanced medical directive now, and it has two parts. You name an agent who can make healthcare decisions for you in the event of incapacity. And then that document also holds what we used to refer to as your living will, which is your directions if you become terminally ill, and generally has a few different scenarios to try to cover all of those types of end of life decisions, and then you make a choice so that your voice is heard on what you want in that event. That other document is that financial power of attorney. This is someone who can step in to make financial decisions for you in the event of incapacity. And I tell all my clients, like, I put these documents in place for myself when I was in my early 20s because that's when I started in this field. And when I was 27 and needed a procedure very quickly and was going to be in the hospital for a while, my mom stepped in, handled, getting disability from work for me. She was able to do all of that. managed, paying my rent at that time and stuff, things you don't even think about. I was 27 years old, but it happened. And
Yeah,
so,
and I can tell you, most landlords don't really care. If you're late on your rent, if you're behind on your rent, they're gonna give you they're gonna initiate the process to bring on moving day. Let's put it that way. As my friend and property manager Benjamin Hendricks will talk about, moving day. That's after it's time to go. You don't have to go home because this is no longer home. You can't stay here either.
right,
But nobody wants that to happen because it's obviously all of your stuff is there and that gets displaced and you legitimately have to start all over someplace new. Before we get too much further than this, I do want to remind everybody, and we do have some folks that are watching that are hopping in and putting their name in the chat. We are doing a drawing today for 2 tickets to Flyers hockey game, which is next week, Wednesday evening. Really great seats on the blue line, 9 rows back. In fact, my seats are sitting on top of one of the tunnels where the visitors come out from the locker room. So they're really awesome seats. We're going to do that drawing at the end of the stream here today. So let's talk about what we've got going on this week, Wednesday. I'm about to, in the comments, drop a link to this because you are coming to my office and offering free consultations for anybody that wants to talk about their relatively straightforward or incredibly complex estate planning situations. And then, of course, if they want to hire you, you'll facilitate the next steps at the consults. I am posting that link in there. We've got a couple of slots left. We've been letting people online know and through my email list and everything like that. So a bunch of people have signed up for this already. If we are talking about an overflow day since there are so few left. So we'll see if we get there. But grab one of those spots if this is something that you're interested in. There's no obligation to actually hire Margot based on this consultation, but I think that most people will. Your pricing is in line with what anybody else would charge, and you know what you're doing. You've already started the conversation, but that's more of a conversation for Wednesday. But tell us what people can expect at this consult, what kind of questions they should be asking, what kind of questions that they can expect from you during this sit down.
so usually what we're looking at, we do take a look at assets. So I will be asking specific questions about holdings and things like that. I try not to dive deep. There's usually a way to get to a plan that makes sense without feeling like you're getting too into someone's business. We also talk about family dynamics, how do you get along with everyone? How do your children get along? Who would you want to act in certain capacities? I love that we're live, Jobeth, and my dogs have decided that right now is the perfect time to file the claim.
It's that family dynamics conversation, and how do those members of your family get along when
They're
you're
not
doing a
getting
live
along at
stream?
this very moment.
I'm going to ask it before anybody in the chat asks it. Are you bringing your friend to the consults? Because I know that sometimes we have our dog here in the office.
Oh,
So
I
this is
didn't know.
a dog
I
friendly
didn't know that
place.
was available. So I just got a new dog, and she is weighing in at 5 pounds. So maybe I will cart her up there. She's real easy.
Nobody would be mad about that.
I mean, who doesn't love a puppy, right? So yeah, she's adorable. And that brings up an interesting question, though, about pets and what we do about them. That's one thing that people don't think about planning for. I've always had pets. I love animals so much. And, in my documents, I provide for my animals, and I also provide who I would like them to go to. And I make an incentive it's actually my brother, for my brother to take them in the event that something were to happen, because I know my brother loves animals as much as I do. And that's a offshoot that people don't think about as well and can be involved in planning.
Well, it's also even as simple as, a lot of people, one of the first things that they're talking about, and especially it's the thing that comes up when they're like, well, I don't need this because I don't have XYZ. It's not just about the stuff. It's not just about the XYZ. You detail your final wishes, where you want to be, put to rest, whatever that means to you, whether you're being buried, whether you're being cremated. All of those decisions are made now by you and not people who are hoping that they get it right. And you've got that power while you're here to say, this is how I want it to go when I go, which is also super important. So it's not just about stuff and things. Yeah. So we got the link in there. The consultations on Wednesday are free. We have some slots that are still open. So grab one of those. And again, it doesn't matter how simple you think it is, how complex you think it is. Margot can handle it all. So yeah, we've got, let me count these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we got 6 names. We got 6 names in the chats we got plenty more people watching. So last call for anybody that wants to, because there's, we got somebody in here saying that they got the email and those names were not, or the times that are there were not good for them. Send us an email, because we could certainly, we've set up this consolidated day to do these consultations, but it's not like you didn't do it that day. Well, nobody needs to see that because you can't click that link from there. You can call us and set up a consultation that does work for you. It seems to be nice and for us to consolidate this and bring you up here, because you're mainly working out of Baltimore, although this stuff that doesn't particularly matter. I'm trying to find this one last name here that just chatted about the difficulty with the date to enter you into the drawing. But yeah, reach out to our office. Got it. Yeah, because Facebook.
I was just thinking, Jobeth, we've been trying to partner ever since law school to do something together. So I'm glad we've actually got it on the books. Because we've always, kept our lanes pretty different, but there is overlap also too.
Yeah, it's only taken us 15 years since we talked about this to do it. We have a question in here. Let's see if this is good to answer. I just clicked it in here. If my children are in their early 20s, would it be best to have a relative be my power of attorney rather than put the stress on my kids?
That's a great question, and that goes to the family dynamics issues that we talk about in these consultations. And I would say the answer depends, of course, but I also, and a lot of estate planners don't emphasize this, but I emphasize talking to your families, letting them know what your wishes are and asking them whether they're capable of doing that. So I went to my parents very early on in this career, and because I have 3 knucklehead brothers, and said, what do you guys have in place? And we did some drafting for them, but at that time I knew what my parents' wishes were in the event that they were terminally ill and sort of cut the cord scenarios, and I knew I couldn't do it. So we had that conversation. It was difficult, but in the end of the day, they put somebody in the position who knew that they could handle it, as opposed to thinking I could handle it. And, maybe I wasn't the right person. So I try to help, and even help facilitate those conversations at times.
Excellent. Yeah, it's I can tell you it's much more difficult stuff if you choose not to tackle it, or you wait till it's too late to tackle it, than to just, for lack of a better term, rip the Band-Aid off and get to it now. So that's a fantastic question. Obviously very specific to the situation. So yeah, sign up for a slot on Wednesday. And Chris, I got you saying that you need information. I'm going to text you directly that link. That way, if there's a time on there that works, great. If not, we will work something out to get you in front of her and get all of this stuff set up for you. So that's what we got for this week. We are going to be doing the drawing. Let me not forget the drawing, because that's we got a bunch of names in here. So let's give away some Flyers tickets now. How's that sound? Share screen. Yep, this is me just trying to figure this out on the fly. Here we go. All right. Are we ready? Let's click this button. Let's get the wheel spinning. I want to note that our friend Kevin, who's won 2 of these, I think is probably here, but has opted to not jump in because I think that, Ted Newland. Wonderful. Congratulations, Ted. Reach out to me. Let me take the screen sharing off. Perfect. Reach out to me at, you know how to get in touch with me probably. If not, throw an email up to info@bowerslawmd.com. That way I'll have your email address and I can fire out those tickets to you. That is for next Wednesday night. Awesome seats at the Flyers. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will be back again next week with another episode. Also, feel free to email me any sort of topics, any sort of questions, stuff that you would like to have us talk about here on the podcast. As you can see, and as you know, I don't do any estate planning work. And when there are questions and a need, we bring in somebody that knows what they're talking about. We've done this with multiple other topics, and we'll continue to do this with other topics each and every week. And of course, if it is all about auto accidents and injuries and things that I am handling on a daily basis, then it's just going to be my lovely glowing face here for you all. So happy Monday. Thanks to all of the veterans who served and have just opened the door for us to be able to do stuff like this, and so that we have the rights to say what happens when we go, all of that because of those wonderful folks. So until next week, be well out there, be safe. I will see you soon.